Earlier today, me and a friend of mine was talking about what it's like to automatically be assumed to be Republican in this part of the world. People takes one look at you and they see the way you're dressed, they hear your accent, and just the fact that you're from here, they think that automatically means that you're a Republican. And you wouldn't believe how many people will still message me and ask me if I am a Republican or if I just recently switched over, because they cannot believe that anyone that looks or sounds like me could have ever been a liberal this entire time. And I just want to go ahead and clear that up. I started voting in the year 2000. And in every election since the year 2000, I have always voted Democratic. Be it Democratic governor, congressman, senator, president. I have voted Democrat straight down the line ever since the year 2000. Now, I'm sure in the local level, I have voted for Republicans. I'm sure the magistrate or the county mayor was a Republican, because in a lot of those scenarios in this part of the world, you don't even have a Democrat on the ballot. It's just one guy or two guys, and they're both Republicans running against each other, and you just pick the one that you happen to personally know, or that your mom knows, or your dad went to school with, or whatever the fuck, So I'm sure I voted for Republicans on the local level, but on the national stage, I have never voted for a Republican, and I can't see myself doing that anytime soon. Probably not in my lifetime, because of how batshit to the right they've went. There's not a voice of reason over there anymore, and that's kind of where I tend to go. It's where I'm more than likely going to find a voice of reason. But it got me to thinking, what would it have been like if maybe I'd have took a different turn in life? What would it have been like if maybe I had have become a Republican and I had have been, spewing their talking points this entire time? What would my life be like? And I got to thinking, I could go into any waiting room, any doctor's office in this part of the world, and while I'm sitting in the waiting room, they've always got Fox News on. Every restaurant has Fox News on the TV. So, it would be easy to just sit there and you would be seeing what you agree with, and you could mouth off about it. You could cheer it on. You could do whatever you wanted to do, and no one's going to say that to you. You could burst out into some big diatribe in the middle of a doctor's office, and there might be one guy over in the corner kind of pissed, but he's the only liberal in town, and so he's not going to say that to you, because he's just tired of trying to rock the boat. And you could pretty much just spew your views anywhere you wanted to, and you wouldn't have to back up anything with evidence, anything with any facts. You could just root for your guy blindly, like you root for a football team or a basketball team. And you could go shopping around here, go in all these stores. You could go into a Walmart. You could find shirts that said Jesus is Lord. And, I'm still waiting, by the way, for the big cardboard cutout of George Carlin that says religion is bullshit. But so far, all I've seen is like Billy Graham displays and Joel Osteen displays and that Joyce woman. So you could find the books you were looking for. You could find the kind of clothes you wanted pretty easily. And you could just mouth off anytime you wanted with pretty much no accountability, because there's not very many people around here that would ever step up and say anything to you. And you could always, anytime something tragic happened to somebody, you could just say, well, you're in my thoughts and prayers. And it wouldn't matter how sinful of a life you lived. You could be the biggest party animal ever, but as long as you say that, you can just dodge anything else. And you never have to back up any evidence for your God either. You can sit there and you can cherry pick verses out of the Bible to demonize people you don't like. And, you can throw that around all day. And anytime someone asks you for evidence, you just come back with, well, if you don't believe me, you're going to hell. So I thought a lot about what it would be like to be a Republican, and especially as a musician. Hell, all you'd have to do is throw a rebel flag up behind you and get 3 guitar players on the stage and, sing every song about how that I'm going to stick my foot in your ass if you don't like my flag, or you don't stand for what I believe in, and you would get booked out to ass. So, and the only real persecution that you would ever face is in comment sections. You would just get called out by people in comment sections. They would fact check you, and they would ask you for evidence, and you would kick and scream. And, if you tried to troll somebody, they would, you might try to throw a Bible verse at somebody, and they may point out to you that there's no evidence to back up anything you're saying, and you could just dig in your heels and kick and scream. And that's really the only persecution you're ever going to face. You might get shut up for saying the N-word. You might get shut up somewhere for, saying some homophobic slur. Somebody somewhere might bump you off of a platform for saying something the wrong way. You could go around being one of these guys, man, I've been kicked off Facebook 10 times, by God. And, that's kind of what it would be like to be a Republican. I've thought long and hard about how it would be to be on that side of the fence, because what's funny about the whole try that in a small town is I've tried standing up for people of color in a small town, and I get a lot of backlash for it. You ought to check out my inbox. I've stood up for the gay community, and I get a lot of hate for that. I stand up for the trans community, and I get a whole lot of hatred for that here in this small town. There's not very many people wants to see me coming, and the hate mail is out my ass. So yeah, I mean, I've often wondered what it would be like to be on the other side of the fence, but at the end of the day, I'm just not a fucking dickhead. And I just never could buy into that rhetoric. I found it insulting from the minute I realized they were talking down to me, and the minute I realized they were playing me, the minute I realized that the Republican Party was using my accent, that it was people that weren't even from here using my accent as a stage prop. They were using the flag as a stage prop. They were using the Bible as a stage prop. They were using morals and values and everything else as strictly stage props, and it was all fucking bullshit. That's why I, for the life of me, just couldn't get behind it. And I'd have people say, don't you support the troops? I'd say, absolutely. I don't want them to be over there in that war that we should have never fought. I want them to come home. Oh, well, you're not supposed to think that. You're supposed to turn up Toby Keith a little louder, buddy. What are you thinking? And I never could buy into that. The minute I realized it was all an act to them, and those rich men north of Richmond was using that bullshit just to talk down to me and further drive my part of the world into the ground, I wanted no part of it. And besides, over here on my side of the fence, I said this a dozen times, there's a much broader spectrum of people with so many different ideas that I can have debates amongst them all day long, and I don't have to buy in to the racism bullshit. I don't have to buy into the homophobic bullshit. I don't have to buy into the blind religion bullshit. I can sit over here in my world and I can hear different ideas come at me all day long. So I've thought about it. I've thought about what it would be like to be a Republican, but I'm perfectly okay over here on the side that I'm on. And believe it or not, I have never, in my lifetime, unless it was the county mayor, I have never pushed that button for a Republican president. And the way things are going, it probably won't happen in my grandson's lifetime. So there you go.